Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host 𝙒𝙖𝙩𝙨. A lot of activity today in the United States as associated around Narendra Modi's visit. He was in the New York in UN in the morning doing yoga. In the afternoon, he arrived in Washington, D.C. And we have got some scenes to share with you. But before that, let's welcome our guest of the evening, Adelle Nazarian. Adelle, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel.
Namaskar, great to be on with you.
Adelle, how shall we start? You want us to have a preliminary starter and then we can share some of our videos and sites around Washington, D.C.? Go ahead.
Go
ahead.
To. Yeah. I think this is thank you so much. What an exciting time. I was looking at, I was there seeing such a turnout with the presence of people, Indians from all over the country that have flown in for this very historic event. And it's, the first state visit by him in a very, very long time officially. And increasingly, we've been seeing strength in numbers and how people are so enthusiastic about the US-India relationship. And I think we're going to start seeing a lot of deals also that are going to translate into that tangibly to solidify America's partnership with India going forward. So I'm excited for the audience to see some of the footage as well.
And many of my friends from all over United States are actually congregating in Washington, D.C. area. Many of you may know some of these contributors, and I'm sure when they see this video, they'll respond by way of either comments or on tweets. So you'll know who has been watching and who has made it there. I know a lot of people, a lot of friends are going there. And most importantly, today in D.C., it was raining. It was, in fact, not raining, but it was pouring. Adelle, I'm just going to quickly show our viewers a video of our good friend 𝙒𝙖𝙩𝙤𝙦, who took the trouble to stand in that pouring rain and actually capture this picture, these videos. As you can see, many are in costumes, in Bharatanatyam and Kuchipudi and various different dance styles. I'm sure Biden would be pleasantly surprised at the kind of reception he's getting in his own town of Washington, D.C. I don't think we have seen any kind of such, splendor and display there. And viewers, this is a place called Freedom Plaza in Washington, D.C. Close to 3,000 people were assembled there from all over the country. And it was raining pretty hard. And it was amazing to see the enthusiasm on display, and it sets up the stage for what's going to happen tomorrow when Modi will be addressing both houses, the Congress as well as the Senate. And we already know there are some people who said they are staying away. They're trying to create some sort of a controversy. Adelle, walk us through this. We know yesterday we talked about the fact that even when Bibi came to address the joint houses, there were people who had stayed away. So, okay, it's a token observation of a protest, all right. But are they not letting down their constituents, in your opinion?
Absolutely. I think that if you get down to it and you look beyond the selective media narrative that is constantly pushed, you will see that the constituents of these individuals who elected representatives, elected officials who have been, chosen to represent the people that they serve don't actually represent their views. And that a lot of them actually do have Indian constituents who are in fact supportive of the U.S.-India relationship of Narendra Modi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and I have to say, the similar attempts were made, as you mentioned, when Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu of Israel also addressed a joint session of Congress. And at the end of the day, what's going on now? The U.S.-Israel partnership, the U.S.-India partnership, the U.S. and any foreign government you want to talk about, despite efforts to boycott that, so to speak, the relationship has thrived, and business will continue as usual and only expand. So it's quite hypocritical, to be honest with you, if you want to talk about it. And I have to say, for anyone who's watching here, those who don't agree with your elected officials and what they've done, they don't represent you. I consistently say this. The best way for you to make your voice heard is to go to the ballot box and to vote and to do the research. And you've been an incredible resource, Shri, for people who are, with an upcoming election cycle as well, going to be interested in voting in a way that represents their values, to deep dive into some legislative issues, for example, that are going to make a significant impact. And hopefully I can be helpful with shedding some insight about those things as well.
Now, I'm also hearing some specifics now. We saw that letter that Pramila Jayapal wrote citing Human Rights Commission and on flawed research. In fact, I have viewers, if you have not already seen this, first of all, viewers, please like this video, because 𝙒𝙖𝙩 is going to catch a cold tomorrow, because poor guy stood all day in pouring rain, took pictures, because I was so insistent that we need to have something for our viewers back home and as well as in the United States. So please like this video. And what I'm going to say is that in the morning, I had released one video about Pramila Jayapal's connects with some dubious organizations and where she was getting a lot of funding and how she can turn on protest and then turn it off as soon as the funding tap stops. So this is the kind of people that we have for congressmen and women. The less said about that part, the better. But what I'm really, hoping will not happen tomorrow is, this is what I'm hearing, Adele, and I don't know if you have heard this or not. Close to 3,000 to 4,000 Khalistani supporters are planning on descending on Washington, D.C. tomorrow. And they have been given specific areas where they can express or register their protest. The important thing is it should not become a free-for-all, a medley. It has to be orderly. You have the freedom of speech to protest, but
Absolutely.
you can't break any laws. I'm just telling it upfront as it is. And also, I'm also told that there's going to be copious video recording of all the people who are showing up for these places. If you happen to be illegal, I'm telling you, be careful of the consequences is all I'm going to say now. And just let it pass off peacefully. That's what I'm hoping. Are there any information from your
Absolutely.
side? Have you heard something like this?
I think that having, lived in DC for a while and seeing the transition, like for example, I was here when Trump had won. I saw the reaction. Which was massive. Well, actually, it was a lot of protests and a lot of attention. I'll say that. I was here when President Biden won, and I can tell you that they were barricading the White House and the streets in the aftermath of what they said was a resurrection, which is
Resurrection.
questionable. Yeah, which is questionable because it was in the aftermath of the January 6th event. But I can say that there wasn't a lot of violence, honestly. It had been hyped up. But in this case, I will draw a parallel to when Prime Minister Modi spoke in San Jose in 2015, and
Yes.
how I did see that there was a lot of noise, some attempts at violence, honestly, at Khalistani protesters. And I will point to a very interesting example, actually. I was reporting at the time back when I was a journalist, and I had written a line saying, just observing the situation and how they had taken a image of Narendra Modi and taken the back of the shoe and they were like hitting it. And so I just casually was just observing, reporting that this is a tremendous display of disrespect. It would have been anything, whether it was, Ayatollah Khamenei, or at the time when Rouhani was visiting, or if it was Netanyahu, or if it was, you know, Zelensky or Putin, whoever it was, any world leader. That's a sign of disrespect, no matter who you are. And then the Khalistani media network took it upon themselves to attack me for reporting objectively, and that's kind of the same sentiment and what the purview is. If you don't necessarily, if you are reporting the truth and giving a astute observation, you're considered an enemy. So I wouldn't be surprised if there are attempts similarly tomorrow to, hopefully not, but there's some violence, and I trust and trust that calm will ensue and that peaceful protests will be able to take place. But again, it's really going to be up to the media to do reporting accurately, and everyone should observe. If there is something that happens, turn to Twitter, turn to mediums like that, where citizen journalists are kind of capturing something that mainstream media won't necessarily capture, and then do your due diligence and see who, like PGurus, who's gonna report the real footage versus what's being reported in other sites that are trying to cherry pick a certain narrative. So that's what I have to say about
Yeah.
that.
And thank you, Adele. And we have a small slide deck of pictures I want to share with you also. Can you have the slide deck, please? So these are scenes in and around in Freedom Plaza, and you can see somebody holding a flag that is part part UK, US. I'm sorry, part US and part India. Next one, please. And this is the same truck that we saw parked right across the Freedom Plaza. And in one of the views, you can see the Washington Memorial in the backdrop. Next one, please. There you go. There's the Washington Memorial in the backdrop. And the interesting thing was, 𝙒𝙖𝙑𝙤 actually did manage to shake the hand of Prime Minister Modi, but he said, while I was shaking, I couldn't take the picture. So by the time he got his camera out, Modi had moved on to the next person. So he got the next person's picture. That is shown in, I think, in our thumbnail for this video. So you will see that. So the other interesting thing that somebody is mentioning, that even inside the house where the speech is going to be delivered, there may be some people protesting, making noises, making an embarrassment of themselves. People are saying that even that might happen. So because you can't, put band-aids on people's mouths and say you can't say anything while you are observing from the gallery. It's just you're expected to have the decorum. He is representing a country, the most populous country on earth, and he
The
has
subcontinent, yeah.
in the subcontinent, yeah. And you don't want to give him that time. So that this is where politics is really descending so low that people don't think twice about the decorum or the occasion, the reason why somebody is on a state visit, and that is really unfortunate.
I have to say there's so much, there is no perfect leader. I'll put it that way. Everyone has their issues or flaws. It's impossible to appease and please everyone. And the hallmark of true leadership is doing what is right. Sometimes, it's going to disproportionately affect certain groups over others. And at the end of the day, I think that what a lot of these people who you're referring to, we may or may not see, vapid displays from tomorrow, they are kind of sitting from their pedestal, and they have lost touch with what's truly happening on the ground. They've essentially lost touch with the people, because if what you're doing is, if you're trying to stifle opportunities for progress for humanity, and that's clearly what this relationship is trying to do. What Modi has done is he's really trying, from what I've seen at least, to implement deals and to put forth policies environmentally, technologically, that are going to help the people of his country, and on the same on the other side of that, help the people of America. Look, America is in such need of high skilled labor over the next 2 decades. India needs high level technology over the next 2 decades, right? And we saw with the signing of the General Electric contract, I think $3 billion worth of drones were bought from America. I think I mentioned that. And this is going to help both nations greatly. And I think that with the trend towards such a high tech future, it only stands to benefit not only the people of both countries, but other countries as well. With the supply chain, right, having been so severely disrupted during the recent events the past two years of COVID and whatnot, and with unfortunately not being able to rely on China as the only source of these products, the diversification through India, through Africa, right? All these different things in America, which remains an innovative hub. I mean, you know yourself, right? We're located in California too. So I think it's time for, I hope tomorrow that there isn't going to be a bunch of protests. I mean, I understand that people think it's symbolic and that it, rouse up emotions, but at the end of the day, it's not really the emotions that move progress forward. It's facts, and it's actually the hard work that is getting done behind the scenes that isn't getting credit. And I have to give credit to those who are the unspoken heroes, who are working hard and doing the work that needs to get done to act, and not receiving credit because they don't need it, but who are actually the ones behind the scenes that are pushing humanity forward. And I think a hat tip to them.
Yes, indeed. And viewers, we are going to try and get you parts of the speech tomorrow of Prime Minister Modi. And if there's going to be any activity in the gallery, we will get that too. So we'll be back again tomorrow, same time. And Adele and I will give you what happened tomorrow or what happens tomorrow. Hopefully everything will pass off smoothly. And like always, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Adele, thank you so much. We'll be seeing you again tomorrow. Namaskar.
Namaskar.